Hello there and welcome back to Gemma Movie Recap. Today I'm going to recap Gray Man, a 2022 action thriller film. Warning, spoilers ahead. Please be cautious. But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. The movie opens by showing a senior CIA agent named Fitzroy, who is in charge of recruiting prisoners to become his men, with the code Sierra, or Gray Man. He approached a young man at that time, whose release period was still very long. The young man agreed to become a member of the CIA with the code name Sierra 6. The CIA also promised to reduce his prison term, and he would be trained as an assassin. 18 years later in Bangkok, 6 was seen celebrating New Year's Eve. Then he was visited by another CIA agent named Miranda. They both turned out to be ordered to kill dangerous criminals. 6 was right downstairs when he received orders from the CIA commander named Michael and his assistant, Susan. The target was seen entering the building. They were ready in their respective places. 6 was also ready with his weapon. Then the leader gave the order to shoot, but 6 steps were stopped because there was a small child passing by. However, the leader still ordered him to shoot. He didn't care if the child died or not. But 6 disobeyed. He claimed he would finish off the villain in his own way. Miranda joined in to help 6 there. Six finally managed to come face to face with the villain. The villain then told 6 that he was Sierra 4. That meant they were both one agency because they were recruited by the same person, Fitzroy. However, Sierra 4 was accused of defecting, so 6 was ordered to kill him. They then fought with 4 when the New Year's fireworks were lit. Six managed to stick a knife into 4's body. However, the dying 4 revealed that Michael was a bad guy. Then he gave his necklace to 6. Shortly thereafter, Miranda arrived and reported to Michael that the target had been killed. Immediately, Miranda began to take 4's belongings, but she did not find the necklace she was looking for. Because of this, Michael then called 6 and asked about the sack, but 6 claimed not to know. 6, who did not understand the contents of the chip in the necklace, then went to an internet cafe and opened the chip in the necklace. However, the data was locked, so he decided to send the chip somewhere. After that, 6 called Fitzroy and told him everything. Fitzroy had retired from the CIA, or rather had been fired by Michael. Fitzroy then told 6 to come to the pickup place because he would pick him up and protect him. Elsewhere, Michael and Susan argued because Michael would send someone named Lloyd Hansen to get the necklace held by 6. Susan disagreed because Lloyd was a psychopath, but Michael didn't care. Lloyd immediately took action by kidnapping Fitzroy's only niece named Claire. The scene changed to show 6, who came by Bajaj Bangkok. There the team from Fitzroy was waiting for him. Meanwhile, Lloyd then went to meet Fitzroy and asked about the whereabouts of 6. At first, Fitzroy pretended not to know, but after Lloyd threatened him that he was holding his niece, Fitzroy was forced to call his men who were on the plane to kill 6. The fight on the plane was inevitable, even making the fuselage hit by gunfire and began to shake. However, one by one 6 began to throw Fitzroy's men out of the plane. He also took a parachute from the plane, and finally the plane exploded right after he got off. That night Fitzroy was still in the car with Lloyd when suddenly 6 called him and said that he would kill him. 6 then got on a train there. He recovered his stamina, after which he rested. The scene then switches 2 years earlier in London. Fitzroy and Margaret, head of the CIA's British Bureau, asked 6 to look after Claire. Claire is a smart teenage girl, but unfortunately she has a heart defect. Finally, inevitably 6 accepted the job. Every night 6 checked the security CCTV, until suddenly Claire came and had a heart attack. 6 immediately took her to the hospital. Afterward, to calm her down, Claire played a song, while 6 was dealing with an intruder who broke into the house and could easily defeat him. Back to the present, 6 has arrived in Vienna, Austria. He met someone to make a passport. The person told 6 to clean himself first because he would be photographed. After that, he was asked to stand right in the middle, and 6 was stuck in a well that had dried up. Unfortunately, the glass on top of the well was bulletproof glass, so 6 could not get out, and the person claimed to do this for a large reward. The scene then switches and shows Michael, who is interviewing Miranda about the incident in Bangkok. Michael asks for an explanation of how 6 was able to escape from there and carry the necklace. He says Miranda's career is in danger of being cut short and she will be punished, but suddenly Michael gets a message from Lloyd telling him the address where 6 is locked up. Secretly, Miranda can also see the address from Michael's phone. Immediately, Michael and the troops go to the location, followed by Lloyd, who also goes there. On the other hand, 6, who is locked up, manages to make the water pipe leak so that water fills the whole well. He does that so he can float to the surface. Shortly thereafter, Lloyd arrived with his men. 6, who realized that, immediately prepared a plan. He blew up the well and immediately got out of there. However, he met with Lloyd, who sprayed pepper liquid into his eyes. 6 Tal gave up so easily. He then released a grenade into the room, then he left. Lloyd actually caught up with him, but he was shot in the back by Miranda. Miranda asked 6 to come to her car, but 6 would be placed in the trunk. Miranda did this because 6 had damaged her reputation, so inevitably she had to get involved. She also wanted to know what really happened. 6 then told Miranda that the chip was sent to Margaret's place, the British CIA bureau chief. On the other hand, Lloyd's men came with CCTV footage to tell him that the package was sent to Prague, but he didn't know the exact address, so that made Lloyd have to interrogate Fitzroy. But because Fitzroy didn't want to open his mouth, he started torturing him by pulling out his nails one by one, but his method did not make Fitzroy open his mouth. Lloyd is forced to use Claire to threaten Fitzroy. On the other hand, Miranda and 6 arrive at Margaret's place, then 6 asks about the package she sent for him. Unexpectedly, Margaret manages to unlock the chip. The chip turns out to contain the behavior of Michael, who uses his power to commit murder, torture, and bombing without permission, and without regard to loss. Even Michael uses the CIA as his death squad. Lloyd remotely ordered his men to go to Margaret's house, and it was immediately riddled with bullets by Lloyd's men. Margaret then asked 6 and Miranda to leave, and she had even prepared a bulletproof car for them, as well as a complete weapon in the trunk. Margaret also bravely blew up her own house with a grenade. Fortunately, 6 managed to get out safely from the house, but the Prague police immediately surrounded her. 6 was finally arrested. After that, the police called the SWAT team to come check, but on the other hand, Lloyd called his Alpha team to kill 6. A shootout ensued between police forces and Alpha team troops. Feeling not enough, Lloyd then called the Bravo team to come. In the chaos, 6 tried to take the gun under the car because he had to protect himself from enemy fire. On the other hand, Susan asked Lloyd to withdraw his troops because they had caused a lot of damage. Instead of withdrawing his troops, Lloyd actually raised a reward of $10 million for anyone who could shoot 6 dead. 6 managed to free the handcuffs on his hand, and he escaped using the electric train, but several people managed to get into the train, and were followed by the Delta team sent down by Lloyd. On the way, the Delta team fired at 6's train from outside, but a red car suddenly came to help 6. It turned out that the car was Margaret's bulletproof car driven by Miranda. Miranda and 6 then worked together to face the enemies who tried to kill them. During the chaos, the train went off the track and almost crashed into a building. 6, who was busy shooting, was forced to jump off the train. Fortunately, he managed to land safely in Miranda's car. Lloyd, who knew all his team failed, did not give up so easily. He even sent someone from India to follow 6 and Miranda. They both headed to the hospital to find the whereabouts of Claire and Fitzroy, who were known to be in Croatia. Suddenly, the man from India appeared and began attacking 6 and Miranda. But his arrival was not to kill them, but only to take the necklace carried by 6. 6 and Miranda struggled to face the man. Even the man injured 6 by stabbing his stomach, but in the end the man chose to escape by jumping through the window after taking the necklace, but 6 and Miranda did not let him escape. 6 chased him from below while Miranda shot him from above, but when Miranda had the chance to shoot him, it turned out that the gun she was carrying was bulletless. They then left the place and entered the veterinary clinic to treat his wound. On the other hand, the Indian man came to where Lloyd's palace was. He then handed over the necklace. After a while, 6 and Miranda followed to Lloyd's place. It was revealed that Susan and the others wanted to delete the data that was on the chip in the necklace. But suddenly, the lights there went out and Miranda started firing bazookas at the helicopter flying over the house. She deliberately did that to lure Lloyd and his men to come out, while 6 came to the room where Claire and Fitzroy were. Lloyd already knew that they had been set up. He then followed into the room, but Claire and Fitzroy were already gone from there. Meanwhile, Miranda prepared to attack again with her bazooka, but this time she destroyed their computer room. 6 got an attack from the top of the building. The attack left Fitzroy shot in the chest. He then asked 6 to take Claire away and let him buy time. 6 and Claire then left by jumping into the water, while Fitzroy, who was visited by Lloyd's men, chose to commit suicide by detonating a grenade. On the other hand, Miranda began to enter Lloyd's place. Her arrival was awaited by a man from India. The two of them dueled for quite a while. However, in the end, the Indian man handed over his necklace to Miranda. He expressed his displeasure that Michael's work involved small children. Switch to 6 and Claire, who are about to leave by boat. But he is intercepted by Lloyd. 6 then fights against Lloyd. Claire also helps him by firing 2 firecrackers into Lloyd's body, which makes 2 of his fingers cut off. Lloyd then captured Claire. He dragged Claire and took Claire into the maze-shaped garden. Long story short, 6 was able to find Lloyd and Claire, while Miranda, on the other hand, was ready to shoot from the top of the building with her rifle. However, 6 chose to fight manfully with his bare hands. Claire was then asked to go to see Miranda. Finally, the fight between the two agents began. In their fight, 6 actually defeated Lloyd easily, but Lloyd took a knife in his pocket and began to attack 6 blindly. However, 6 got up and then hugged him, then locked his head. While in that situation, suddenly a gunshot sounded and Lloyd's body began to bleed. It turned out that the gunshot came from Susan. Susan also shot 6 in the leg. Susan promised that 6 and Claire would live, as long as 6 would become a witness, because they would scapegoat Lloyd as the cause of chaos for everything that happened. 6 was forced to agree, because he had no choice. 6 was then stretchered off and met Claire outside. 2 weeks later in Washington, D.C., 6 received medical treatment which was closely guarded by officers. The head of the Central CIA declared that Lloyd was guilty, so Michael, Miranda, and Susan were acquitted of the charges. Michael also managed to destroy the chip in the necklace. Elsewhere, Claire is now living in a house that is heavily guarded by Susan's men. Susan also received news that lately 6 was unresponsive, did not want to eat and did not want to talk, but after they came, it turned out that 6 had finished off all the officers who were there and had escaped from that place. On the other hand, Claire got a tape that said "Play me loudly." Claire did it, and just like before, when Claire played the song, 6 came and beat all the officers who were there. 6 then took Claire away, and the movie ended.